All right, so let's talk about your review. First of all, adjectives must match their nouns in both gender and number. And that means that if I'm describing a bolígrafo as red, then it needs to say rojo and not roja. If I'm describing two pens, bolígrafos, they would be rojos. Got it? So gender, meaning that it needs to end in an O because that ends in an O. And number, meaning that if this is plural and ends in an S, then this needs to be plural and end in an S as well. Translating the vocabulary words, serio is serious, trabajador is hardworking, guapo is good looking, viejo is old, alto is tall, I'll get back to that. Deportista is sports-minded. And don't forget, this one is a little bit crazy because it is masculine and feminine. So even if we're talking about a boy, it's going to say deportista, whereas serio and guapo and viejo and alto and bajo and gracioso and atrevido, if we're talking about a girl, it would be seria, guapa, vieja, alta, atrevida, baja, and graciosa. Atrevido means adventurous or daring. Joven means young, and it looks like the word juvenile. Bajo means short, and gracioso is funny, like gracias for making me laugh. Moving right along, we've got circle the opposite. So, Ernesto es sociable, pero su hermana es. So what's the opposite of sociable? Sociable. So the opposite of sociable would be shy, right? Or reservada. And Graciela es joven. So what's the opposite of joven? Joven means young. And the opposite of that is old. So viejo. And then the next one, Esteban y Luis son desordenados. Pero María y Julia son, and then the opposite of desordenado probably looks just like it without the desordenadas. All right, and now we're going to circle the correct adjective. So if I'm describing Elena, and that is a girl, so the answer describing her is not going to end in what letter? It's a girl and she's feminine, so it's not going to end in O. So it's not ordenado. It's not gracioso or reservado because both of those end in O as well. So the only answer left is inteligente. Next one, Laura y Alicia. So now I've got two people, so that means my answer has to end in an S. And the other hint is, don't forget, if it's a son, then that means that it should be a plural answer as well. And since I'm talking about plural, it's not graciosa because that doesn't end in an S, and it's not alto because that doesn't end in an S. So now I've got my choice of bajos or sociables. And I look at these words. Are those girls' names or boys' names or both? It's a girl's names, both of them. So my answer needs to be feminine. So my answer cannot end in an OS. So it's not bajos. The only one left is sociables. You notice these end in E, and don't forget E stands for everyone. Now we're talking about Mario. Mario is a boy, which means the answer cannot end in an A, and it cannot end in an S because there's only one person. So this one's out. Reservada is out, and atrevida is out. The only one left ends in an A, but you remember back up here, deportista is masculine and feminine. So the answer is deportista. Moving right along, mis amigos juegan al fútbol, al tenis y al básquetbol. Ellos son. So if my friends play all these sports, what are they? Deportistas. And if you're asking me about ¿cómo es tu hermana? And now I'm talking about her. Ella es blank. Le gusta ir a la escuela y estudiar. If my sister likes to go to school and study, what is she? Estudiosa. She could be inteligente. She could be muy seria. Either of those works. All right, conjugating the verb ser below. So the yo form is soy. The nosotros form is somos. And then I've got eres and es and son. There we go. Soy, eres, es, somos, son. You absolutely need to know how to say this or fill out that chart on your test. Ser means to be. And it usually is talking about descriptions of items. All right? All right, so now we're talking about use the correct form of ser to complete the following sentences. So mis amigos, that's plural. I know that because it ends in an S. So I use the plural side of the chart. I start at the top and I say, does my subject right here include the word yo or nosotros? If not, it's not that answer. The only one left for me to choose is son. Next one, la señora Merchan. That's my subject. Is it singular or plural? I don't see an S, so we're going to start it up here. Does it include the word yo? No, it doesn't. Does it include the word to? No, it doesn't. So my only correct answer left is S. De donde blank to. To says to, and that's the to box. So the answer is eres. Mi amiga Ana y yo. So that's plural because it's got two people there. It says Ana y yo. So I start at the top and I say, does it include the word yo or nosotros? Here is my word yo, so it clearly does. So the answer is somos. And then this one's a little bit tricky, and you've got a few of these on your test. If it says como eres tú, so who are you talking to? You're talking to me, and you're asking me about myself. So if you say, what are you like, how am I going to answer you? You say, what are you like? I say, I am this or this. So how do I say I am? Soy. All right, so these are go forms, and that just means that the yo form ends in go. The yo form of tener, which means to have, is tengo, so that's I have. Yo form of poner is pongo, which means to put, so that's I put. And hacer means to do or to make, and that's hago, I make or I put. So yo pongo los libros en la mesa, I put the books on the table. And yo hago mi tarea para la clase de historia, I do my homework for history class. Your AR verb endings and your ER-IR verb endings. So your AR verb endings are going to be, I'm going to do these all in caps, O, as, a, vamos, an. Now let's see if I can get that to fit in the box a little better. There we go. And your ER-IR verb endings are O, oops, es, not E, a W. And for ER verbs, it's hemos. For IR verbs, it's imos. And then en. Okay, so now let's fill out this. Sara y Maria. And the verb is estudiar. So what's the first thing I do when I conjugate a verb? I remove the last two letters. So now the stem, which is what's left over, is estudi. And all I've got to do is add the right ending. So if Sara y Maria are my subject, and I'm using this verb chart here, that's obviously plural. There's two people listed there. And I'm going to start at the top of the plural side. And I'm going to ask myself, does it include the word yo or nosotros? No, it doesn't. So an is my ending there. Next one, La Señora Garcia. That's one person. So I'm going to go back over here. It's an AR verb. So, insane. And hey, I'd love it if you'd know every single word that was left, but or every single word that was there to conjugate, but you don't even need to know it. You need to know that La Señora Garcia is your subject and that it's an AR verb. So I'm on the AR verb chart and I say, does it include the word yo? No, it doesn't. Does it include the word to? No, it doesn't. So A is the ending I'm adding. Enseña, that means teaches. Los estudiantes practican deportes en la clase de educación física. Mi familia y yo jugamos videojuegos. Let's go back up to los estudiantes. Hopefully you saw that. You saw that it was plural. So you came over here and you started at the top. Does this word include the word yo or nosotros? No, it doesn't. So it's an. Don't get confused. Don't say, I don't know what that means. I'm a student. That includes me. It doesn't include you. If it did, it would say y yo. Okay? Sorry, just that part. All right. La chica canta y baila Nosotras, that literally is the word nosotras, which means we. So escuchamos música. And tú hablas mucho por teléfono. All right, this part sounds really hard, but it's not. When using the present progressive, you should always use the verb estar. Here it is conjugated for you. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, están. And when you've got estoy and then the verb after it, all you're doing is removing the AR ending. And if it's an AR verb, you're going to add ando instead of the AR ending. If it's an ER or IR verb, you're going to add iendo to the ending. So estoy limpi, so I've removed the AR ending and then I add ando. That means I'm cleaning. Los chicos están dibujando. Mi hermanita Juana está bebiendo. She's drinking a beverage. And then nosotras estamos usando la computadora. We're using the computer. En la clase de tecnología, in technology class. All right, let's talk about interrogative word. All right, so translate the following words. Como is how, cuando is when. Guys, y'all always mess this one up, so please put a star next to it. Por qué means why. Que means what. Cuánto means quantity or how much. And quién is who. What is the difference between que and cuál? Que means what and cuál means which. So when I am trying to ask you to choose something, I should be using the word cuál. What is the difference between adonde and de donde? Adonde means where to, and de donde means where from. You're usually going to use adonde with the verb ir, like voy, vas, va, vamos, van, like where are you going to? And you're usually going to use de donde with the verb ser. So de donde eres? De donde es Santana? Santana es de Mexico. All right. What's the difference between donde and adonde? Donde means just where. You're usually going to use donde with just the word estar or the verb estar. You're usually going to use adonde, like I said, with the verb ir. So this is where and this is where to. When you're looking at this on a test, adonde will have a in the answer, the correct answer that goes with it, and de donde will have de donde in the right answer. All right, so fill in the blank. So blank te llamas, and the answer is me llamo Laura. So what did I ask you if you're answering me, my name is Laura? I asked you what your name is. So how do I say, what is your name in Spanish? ¿Cómo te llamas? Next one. The question is, blank estás, and the answer is, estoy en la clase de arte. In is a big hint here. In means in or on, and hopefully y'all know that. And if I'm answering in or on or at, you probably asked me about my location. So that means where are you? And I told you that donde by itself, not de donde and not a donde, goes with the verb estar. Moving right along. Blake te gusta hacer. Well, first of all, you should just recognize that phrase from last year. Que te gusta hacer. The answer was I like to draw and read, so hopefully you knew the question was what do you like to do? Blank vas a la playa, voy con mi familia. So con is in the answer, and I don't think this was one of the ones we had up here. Quien means who, but there's also con quien, and that's the one that's being talked about here. So if the answer has con in it, then con was part of the question. So with who do you go to the beach? And the answer is I go with my family. This one says blank eres, and the answer is soy de Honduras. That's a big hint for you. So the answer is de donde. This one says blank vas al cine porque quiero ver Breaking Dawn parte dos. So if por qué is in the answer, then por qué was part of the question. And then the last one, blank estás, muy bien, gracias. Hey, the first day of Spanish called. Here's the answer. All right. Okay, so I'm running out of time on this video. Let's get down to this part. Please review all your journal questions. So we didn't do journals, but these are good questions for you to know. And like I told you in class, what I really want you to be able to do is just tell me a little bit about yourself. You can do that by saying, soy impaciente, soy estudioso, soy deportista, or you can do it by saying, me gusta correr, me gusta estudiar, or siempre corro, or siempre paso tiempo con amigos. You've got all those choices. So that's it.